Kirsty and Simon, each one will chime in, talking on their podcast, Stress Pubs Rock and Roll.
Hi, welcome to Stress Pubs Rock and Roll. I'm Simon.
I'm Kirsty.
Episode 10.
Whoop whoop.
I don't know why I've been really excited about episode 10. Kind of feels a bit of anticlimax now, really.
Yeah, it's over now, guys. Might as well go home.
I'm over it. I'm well over it.
You were over the last one as well.
I know.
But
Anyway, thank you for listening to episode 10. I'm sure you've probably listened to the others. If this is your first episode, do go back and check out some of the other ones. After this one, we're going to have a tiny bit of a break, but we've got more content coming your way. To be honest, there's loads of outtakes, so we're gonna share some of them with you, and some of them are wicked.
there's some beautiful guest outtakes.
Yes.
Isn't there?
Yes.
Definitely.
And we've got a few special episodes coming as well before season 2. We will be back with season 2 fairly shortly. So thank you to Brixton Streetwear 1977 who've been sponsoring us all season. Much appreciated. You can check them out on Instagram. So we had an idea for this show around discovering new music. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily new as in just out, but like new to you.
Yeah.
And so we've been sharing stuff on our Facebook page, and a few people have sent stuff in, which is great. Really good. We've also been chucking some songs at each other as well. I'm going to kick it off with a song, actually. This is bonkers. Have you had a chance to listen to this? Star Wars tribute.
Yes, I did. Yeah. No. Do you know what? I listened to it. Oh my freaking god, it's going to be a metal version of Star Wars stuff. And I just had this thing, and then I played it, and I've written down exactly what I felt about it, actually. We gave each other some songs to listen to. We're going to feature this one. So I thought it was funny. I couldn't listen to it in my car, though. It feels like a computer game. That's what I wrote. And the reason why, you'll hear it anyway, it feels like you're going for a computer game and then you get to a boss.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Right? And you've got to defeat the boss. But like, the reason I said I couldn't listen to it in my car is because I have a feeling I'd be listening to it like in my car, like getting really into it with my windows down, and then I stop at a traffic light and people be like, what the frickin' hell is this person listening to? And I'd have to do the window wind up of shame. Turn it down.
Yeah. But it's strangely brilliant.
It's hilarious.
It's great. This band's called Galactic Empire. So I believe the guys started it as a Kickstarter to just do a night or a charity thing or raise some money. It's a fast metal version of the Star Wars theme tune. Oh, in fact, all the songs from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Hey, if you enjoy it, even if you don't enjoy it, check out the YouTube video. We'll post it on our page because they're in full-on like Star Wars dress-up.
They literally are.
And there's something really awesome about seeing like a Darth Vader with an electric guitar just like shredding away. It's just amazing. It's brilliant.
This is why it just made me laugh so much.
So anyway, this is Galactic Empire with Imperial March. Enjoy. That's bonkers, isn't it?
It reminds me of you've been at, you know what it's like at Dubs at the Park.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they have like Darth Vader, don't they? And his stormtroopers like walking around the whole thing. But there's always this moment where there's like a big manor house there, and then he's got to walk down the stairs, but he can't actually see anything in his mask. Have you seen him? And he's got the security guards have to help him down the stairs, like Darth Vader being helped down the stairs by. It's just funny. It's like, oh, not that powerful, are you?
I love stuff like that. But so I used to actually this is a funny story. You know the football mascots, or if you're listening to the States, soccer. I used to be a season ticket holder at Wimbledon, and their mascot was a Womble. If you're listening in the States, well, you know what a Womble is.
Probably don't know what a Womble
Google
is.
Womble, and if something
And remember
random
that
comes
you
up,
are one.
yeah, something random comes up. So I used to go and watch the games, right? And there was this Womble like mascot, who was there like before the kids, like to meet the kids and stuff at the beginning. And I'd been down, like I used to go on my own because no one wanted to come watch this team with me. I used to go on my own, and I was an adult, right, at this point, and I'd been down a couple of times to meet the Womble and have my photo taken with her. with this Womble. Anyway, like after going for like about 3 or 4 months to watch this football club, I got chatting to the girl who sat next to me in the seat, had the season ticket like next to me.
Yeah.
We became quite friendly. After about 2 or 3 months, I was like, you always miss the beginning of the game. You're like always late to the game. Like you've missed a goal again today. Like, and she goes, yeah, I'm actually the Womble. I was like, oh, so you would have seen me. You would have seen me come down for a post for a picture most weeks. So.
She's sitting there the whole time going, oh, look, sat that to this twat again.
I've got a bit of an update for you. So last week we talked about my Wonderwall wedding.
Yes.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, you did.
Because I'm a shameless money whore.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have no standards.
Firstly, the people were lovely. People were lovely. So after our podcast, I went and spoke to the bride.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure I definitely heard it from her and not, a bridesmaid or a sister or a dad or something. Anyway, I finally spoke to her, and I was waiting for the, like, what's the connection with Wonderwall? Like, did you get it proposed to when it was on? Or, there's... No, nothing like that. Just kind of like the song. These guys were, like, the most laid-back... I say laid-back... unorganised people like ever met. Like I got booked like a week before the wedding.
Yeah.
I spoke to the registrar. He was like, right, we're going to go. He had a folder that they'd put together for like how the ceremony was going to run. No, it was a humanist ceremony.
Yeah.
And it was outside and stuff. And he was like, yeah, they've given me no direction. All they've said is the ceremony's a bit long. Can you just cut loads of stuff out? And like,
Can you just get to the point?
it had like notes from the like bride and groom in it, like. Sister to read something, like guitarist play whatever. Like, that was like that was the amount of like planning they put into this sort of thing. So basically, I was there like an hour before the ceremony, and me and this registrar basically just went, okay, well we're just gonna between the two of us, we're just gonna wing it. We're just gonna like do what we think is appropriate for this thing. So he kind of just made it up as he went along.
Oh my god.
He did also think of himself as a bit of a stand-up comedian. It did turn into one of those ones where he's got a captive audience, so he's going to bring out all his gags and stuff.
Make sure he gets that repeat booking.
Yeah. It was actually a really nice ceremony, but I didn't even get to the chorus. Like, she walked down the aisle so quick, I got through the first, like, 3 or 4 lines of the song.
Yeah.
And then just, like, faded down. I was like, well, that was easy money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Ridiculous, isn't it?
It was rubbish. And then I felt really bad, so I ended up doing like a little bit of other music throughout the ceremony because I was like, I can't be paid for that. That was like, it wasn't even 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, off my own back, I played the song as they went out because I was like, well,
yeah.
I feel like I don't care about the money. Like, I'm here anyway. I feel like this needs something.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
You can't just have like 3 lines of Wonderwall and that's it. Like,
no.
So yeah, it was
my God.
nuts.
I wonder what happened like afterwards. Like, I just have this imaginings that they finished the thing and everyone's sort of gathered round and they've got their mate. They haven't booked a photographer, but they've got a friend with a camera who's just sort of turned up and they're like, oh, just just take whatever. And they haven't got any planned photos that they really want. They're just doing that. And then they're like, right, so where's the reception? I don't know. Should we go and find a pub that does food? I mean, I don't like things to be completely rigid, but I do like to have some kind of idea of vaguely what's happening at what time, because otherwise the day escapes you and you don't get everything that you need to get done accomplished, you know.
Oh, that was the other thing. There was no start time.
Oh yeah, you said, yeah.
It was like we maybe 2, maybe 2:30.
Essentially.
So if anyone else wants any random requests for their wedding, if you've got have low standards, will travel. So it says on my on my business card. So what have you been up to?
I've been creating a new kind of acoustic version of our band. So we're going to be doing either acoustic stuff for like as a 4-piece, or we've also done it so we can do acoustic stuff as a 3-piece as well.
Oh, okay, cool. How many people in your band normally?
So there's 4 of us all together.
So you're just cutting someone out.
No,
you're plotting to cut one out. That's the end goal.
No, he's already got very upset about that. He already thinks there are in conspiracies, and it's not like that at all. It's literally just to make some more money. Because I don't know if I sent this to you. I found out how much my friend's band were charging for this folk thing that they're doing, plus an electric set, right? So they're doing as a standard 2.5 hours of music, and they've divided it into 3 sets, and they're charging a lot of money. And I found out quite by accident, because another friend of mine just asked me some advice about booking bands for her wedding, and she says, "Oh, I really like this band," and I was like, "Oh, I know them." "Oh, okay. How much do you think they charge?" And I was like, well, okay, looking at it, I sort of looked at it and I was like, oh, they can't be charging more than this amount. And I said, oh, probably around that amount. I was way off. I was like over half off. And I guessed that they were charging about 1,600 quid. They're charging more than like double that.
Blimey.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and then we did a wedding on a Thursday, really weirdly. And they were so laid back that it felt like nothing really happening.
Were you at the same wedding as I was?
No, it feels like it was in a pub, and when we got there, so they were just sort of like, oh yeah, just show up at this sort of time. I got there a little bit early to kind of assess the situation. There was nowhere for us to set up, and I was a bit like, right, where are we going to put all of our
Oh yeah, you were
stuff?
telling me about this.
Yeah, and they had I got there at about 6, and I was thinking, right, we'll just we'll load in, get set up, and then
this is full band, right? Not
like
stripped
full
down stuff.
full 4-piece band, everything, and freaking hell. So I walked in there and I was like, there's nowhere for us to go, and the tables are all set out, and I'm thinking, why are the tables all still set out if we're just about to set up and everything? In 2 hours time we're going to be doing the first dance. Apparently it turns out they hadn't even eaten yet. They hadn't even eaten they haven't even started eating their wedding breakfast or anything. And I was like, wait, what? Right, so we're like setting up, and then suddenly the bride and groom have arrived, and everyone and their mum wanted to say hello to us. Everywhere. Well, we're trying to set up in amongst people sat there, and they've got a barbecue outside, and people are in and out getting food, chatting, drinking, constantly walking over where we're setting up, and it's getting a little bit frustrating and hard work, like a lot more harder than it should have been. And we've also got no space because obviously the tables are set out for them to eat.
Well, and you're probably trying to be respectful because people are trying to eat, so you don't want to be lugging a load of stuff in and making a load of noise, and it looks a bit unprofessional, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we've basically got ourselves set up after we've said hello to every single relative, and I'm not even just saying like, oh hello, yeah, nice to meet you. We're talking like, what's your name then? And then literally every individual member of the band having to introduce themselves by name to like every single relative. So, which was like nice, but it was also like, right, okay, well that's eating away half an hour of my setup time. Can we just get on with this? And then we just about to sound check, and they all decide to sit down and like eat. We can't, there's nothing we can do. So grab some food, and we're sat there waiting, and then they lost the best man.
They lost the best man.
Yeah, best man went missing, and they're doing their speeches, and so the groom comes over to the skittle alley where we are. So we're in like a little skittle alley room, and the groom's like coming out our room basically, and he's like, have you seen my best man? No. Like, why would we have? No, sorry, we haven't seen him. So he trots off again and goes to find where his best man is. He comes back about 15 minutes later. He's like, I found him. I'm like, oh, good, And he's like, yeah, he's having a spliff in his camper van at the bottom of the car park. Like, that is the kind of responsible best man that you require at a wedding.
I think we've established why the wedding was so relaxed.
And they'd given the van a nickname. The van, like, the alarm kept going off. And the camper van's name was Gino de Camper.
Nice. Strong. You've got to love a pun.
You do, don't you?
That's bonkers. And I came to see one of your gigs as well.
Yeah.
Finally got to see Boogie Wookie.
Boogie Wookie.
Boogie Wookie. That was fun.
Yeah, beach bar. That was good.
You guys were great. What I really, really thought was brilliant. You were brilliant at interacting with the crowd. I thought you
oh, thanks, love.
You got that like properly nailed. No, because I see loads of. I mean, firstly, I expected you to be like good, and if you weren't, I'd probably just lie. But
he's lying.
She was shit. No, I expected you to be good, but I see lots of bands who are musically like all right, but like they don't do the audience participation thing particularly well. But you were on it, and I have to say it was a bit of a tough crowd there as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was quite an early gig, so people weren't necessarily up for like bands and participation like too early in the doors in the day. So you did pretty well, I think.
It's hard work
to like interact with them.
Did you see the lady making sweet love to my speaker, Carmel?
You did have a woman grinding on your speaker. That's not a euphemism.
Yeah, that literally happened. Like,
it was weird. She loved you.
Yeah, we were
she loved your equipment.
We were so good.
You know, we talked about Kirsty's sexy PA. She bought the other day. Obviously, some woman really fancied it.
Yeah, I named my speakers Stephanie and Carmel.
Which one got dry humped?
Carmel, obviously. Like, Stephanie's a good girl. Carmel was like a little bit of a tramp. All right, she can't help it.
Carmel got violated.
Oh no, Carmel loved it. Carmel was encouraging that behaviour. If anything, Carmel was like, "Oh yeah, baby, I see you." Such a bizarre thing. We just all turned around and we were like, "Whoa, what is this lady doing?"
It was weird, wasn't it? I didn't really know where to. I mean,
no one knew where to look.
No, I know. It was like we want to ignore this is going on, but like you can't not look.
She even pointed it. Like, you know, like when someone like does like that point across the dance floor and like looks into your eyes. She even did that at the speaker. I was like,
I expected her to do the lasso thing. Like, just like trying to pull the speaker towards her.
Shuffle the tripod towards her.
In a mime fashion. I did a weird gig at a new pub. So it's this celebrity chef in the UK. He's got his own pub. It was really nice. The pub was beautiful, really nice. It was weird because it was a proper butcher's as well. So like there was actually more meat than there were drinks. Like it was surrounded by like carcasses and stuff like that. But like, oh my god, the food was amazing.
Yeah, I bet.
If you like meat.
Yeah.
So actually, you came to see one of my gigs.
Yes,
as
I
well
did.
This week. We had a little bit of a gig swap. It was nice.
Yeah, at the it's called the Maiden's Head now. It used to be the Hob.
Yeah, actually, it was quite a good crowd in there. They were quite up for it.
Yeah, you had a really good table who were singing along to everything, weren't they?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot in the week before the gig.
Yeah,
I think in fact, seeing you guys helped solidify this in my mind. Bring energy with you because you get back what you put out. Like you were working really hard at your gig with the energy levels, even though, to be honest, it was early doors and people weren't willing at the outset to like give you much back.
Yeah,
you got there in the end because people started to like get more lubricated and get there.
Eventually,
you were bringing it from the beginning, and I tried to do that at this gig. Attack the first 2 or 3 songs with a bit of gusto and a bit more oomph, and it just so happened to be that this table immediately after like the second song started to latch onto that. We had you witnessed this, didn't you? I had oh, can I come up and sing a song?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Which quite often happens, and I'm like, sometimes I let it happen.
Yeah,
like,
see, you're too nice. I'm like, no, go off. Get your own gig.
I think the thing is, what I always try and judge is like, is it likely to kill the mood, or is it likely to get me further on the audience's side because I'm being inclusive? And I felt a little bit like, do you know what? Actually, no. There's room for me to show a little bit back and get people up, and actually by getting that girl up to sing, it brought her friends into the thing. The start was hilarious, wasn't it? Because she said,
"Oh, was that the Valerie one?"
Yeah, she said, "Can I sing Valerie?" I was like, "Well, okay, that's fine." And she was like, she kept giving me the key. She kept like singing it in her head. So I'm trying to listen to that and I'm trying to adjust the key on the guitar to like try and roughly match it. But I couldn't get it because obviously what she was singing was in between notes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well if we do it here, that's probably going to be in your range. Nah, she wasn't listening to the guitar.
No.
She just kept singing it
what
she had in her head. So even when I started the song, she was like, no, I'm going to ignore the key of whatever we're playing in. Just cracked on in her own key.
I was just watching this for ages, and it went on for a really long time as well. I was like...
Yeah, it was an embarrassing start to the song, because we really stumbled into it.
Yeah, because I was thinking, just stop playing it.
And then she started
just have to
freaking
adjust.
singing on the wrong chord as well. Like,
yeah, she came in too early. She didn't even wait for the intro of the song. You were like... Da, 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 well, sometime, and you were like, whoa, okay.
There's only 2 chords to the verse. Like,
and she came in
on the
wrong
second
one.
chord on the first line of the verse. I was like, well, now we're spooning. Now we're the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Music related news. Sad news. We talked about Aretha Franklin last week, and we did. To be fair, we said in the podcast that she was really, really ill.
Yeah.
And then before the podcast had come out last week, she died.
Away.
I think she died the next day, actually, after recording the thing. Yeah, obviously incredibly sad. I've always appreciated just how freaking good she is. Actually, no, I don't think I have. I've always appreciated that she is an exceptionally good singer, but it's like whenever something like this happens, people dive into the music. I've listened to an awful lot of Aretha Franklin this week because I've gone back and I've watched a documentary and I've listened to probably about 5 or 6 albums. It's sad that it needs for someone to pass away for people to get more invested in them. But my love for her has gone up like tenfold this week. She's such a good singer.
Oh God!
Like I knew she was brilliant.
Yeah.
But I've listened to a load of live albums. She's exceptionally good. The best I've heard.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Like,
I absolutely love her.
Unbelievably good.
Have you seen the Soul Train stuff?
Yep.
Freaking amazing. Like, so good. Like, it's so good. Yeah, I was saying about that song Rocksteady. She did that on a Soul Train. So she's got 3 backing singers that were with her all the time, and they're even the ones in the Blues Brothers movie as well.
Oh, okay, cool. I also watched that this week.
Did you?
Yeah.
So good. They're always there, just constantly like working with her, and it's so nice. And she's just, she's such a babe. She went through so much, had children really young and stuff like that, and was married, and then she was divorced, and then she's
obviously very socially important with the whole civil rights stuff as well. Oh God,
yeah.
It made me really happy and really sad in equal measures listening to that this week.
Yeah.
Some of the live albums I listened to, I can't remember the name of it, but there's 2 or 3 live albums, certainly on iTunes. One of them was recorded over like 3 days, 3 consecutive days of a gig, and they put the whole gig on for all 3 days.
Yeah.
It's the honest delivery of stuff that is exceptional. Like, she absolutely like believes in... It makes you believe in every single line of that song. Yeah. Yeah, she's, because you do see singers who I don't believe what you're singing.
Yeah.
Or, do you know what, you sing this day in, day out. You're not bringing it. But she, I'm not even going to give her the airtime really, but Madonna did some weird tribute to her at the MTV Video Music Awards. I feel like I've tried to avoid having rants on this podcast so far, so I've cut my Bono one short, and I'm definitely going to cut my Madonna one short. But I'm getting worried about Madonna. Like, I don't know what it is.
She's gone a little bit loopy, isn't she? Let's be honest.
There's been 2 or 3 in the last year. Like, she came out about women's rights when all those marches were going on in the States. She came out with some bonkers like position on that as well. There's been a couple of like real rants at award shows that have been very self-important. Like, she was supposed to be talking about Aretha Franklin. She spent 10 minutes talking about herself.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe ever since she got garroted when she got pulled off stage because her cape didn't come off, did it?
That was the
I think maybe
best
she hit her
thing
head
that
a little
I've
bit
seen.
too hard.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a shame because it should have been on about Aretha Franklin. It was, you know, it was an award ceremony like 2 days after she died. It would have been a really nice tribute and just...
Yeah, maybe she's just really narcissistic.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't know.
Talking of narcissists,
Moving swiftly on.
Kanye West.
Oh, God, not him. Why? Yeah.
Carpool karaoke with James Corden.
Yeah.
He's pulled out like 3 times out of doing that at the last minute.
Cock womble.
He's an absolute... Well, Wombles are getting a nice lot of coverage on our podcast today. Cock Womble, that's that Uncle Bulgaria's brother.
Yeah, they've disowned him.
He was the one making the mess.
Yeah, he's not invited round at Christmas anymore.
Kanye's let him down 3 times apparently. It's cost him $45,000.
Oh, he's such a freaking...
He's such a doofus.
Oh, isn't he? He's just blatantly being like, yeah, well, you need to pay me a bit more money, don't you?
You know it's going to
really
be a car crash anyway. Not an actual car crash, that would be weird. You know, like...
That would be really unfortunate and quite awful.
Stop singing and look, here you go in.
Jesus.
No, but you know what I mean? He's going to be... Because it does show people up for, like, not if you're not a good singer at that carpool karaoke.
Well, that's probably maybe why he keeps pulling out.
Yeah.
He knows he's not all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just disrespectful. If you don't want to go on it, Kanye, just say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop messing people around and wasting people's time. Fucking selfish twat.
Well, I think I've touched a nerve there.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's weird. There was a random article, not linked to anything else, but there was a random article on the BBC website this week about weirdest reasons for gigs getting cancelled. Some of these are vaguely interesting, some of them are not. Some of them are just weird. I remember this. Maroon 5 pulled out of a... Well, basically, they got some Chinese gigs cancelled, like a couple of years ago.
Right.
And obviously their fans were upset about it. It turns out that they actually got banned from playing because they'd previously sung Happy Birthday to the Dalai Lama.
Oh.
Which, if you know anything about Chinese politics... That's going to upset people somewhat. So yeah, they actually got cancelled. Yeah, this was a weird one. Kings of Leon cancelled a gig.
Yeah.
Because, well, basically the short story is their bassist kept getting shat on by pigeons. There was a load of pigeons up in the top of the stage area.
Yeah.
And during the gig, pretty early on in the gig, he got hit twice in the face, once in the mouth.
Oh, no! The worst one! Not in the mouth!
They decided to, probably fair enough, they decided to cancel the rest of the show because of being shat on by a pigeon. Kings of Leon have some ridiculously bad haircuts as well. I really want to see them covered in pigeon shit, like with some matted mullet.
Well, I'm just looking at that photo right now. That's on the screen. It's terrible. What the hell?
I think the pigeon probably shat on him on purpose, to be honest with you.
Just offended.
Yeah. Perhaps up your own arse, Iggy Azalea cancelled some gigs in 2015 because she was sick of singing the same songs.
I think they might have trivialised that a bit.
Yeah, possibly.
I reckon what actually happened was she probably got really depressed singing the same songs because she was probably pressured by her record label or whatever to sing the same songs over and over again. She probably didn't have a lot of creative control over it, and she probably did just properly suffer from anxiety and depression on being like, I just don't want to sing the freaking song again. And they're like, oh, she's such a diva, she just got bored of it.
Yeah, I feel like that might be something to do with it.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit disappointing because the headline was Neil Young cancels gig because of a sandwich, which I was thinking, well, that sounds interesting. But actually, all it was he cut his top of his finger off making a ham sandwich.
So it wasn't really because of the sandwich. It was because he freaking seriously injured himself.
Yeah. And the quote apparently from Neil Young was, I'd have eaten the thing in one piece if I'd known cutting it in half would jeopardise the tour. It's macaroni and cheese from now on.
Well, considering he's a guitarist, isn't he? Like, your finger's pretty important as a guitarist. I mean,
it is pretty important. My favourite one on this was that the guy from Weezer, so they had to cancel a load of gigs, right? So he's quite a short guy, and apparently he's got a real complex. When he became famous as a rock star, he got a real complex about being short and being taken the piss out of. And randomly, one of his legs was 4.5 centimetres shorter than the other one.
flipping heck.
That's quite a lot, isn't it?
That's quite a lot. That's a lot to be short by. He must have had spinal problems and everything.
I don't know. But I mean, I don't know why I'm laughing at it.
Crooked git.
You wonky twat. So yeah, we'll have a good laugh at the fact that they had to cancel a load of gigs because he got his leg. Oh God, I can't say that. They had to cancel a load of gigs because he got his leg lengthened.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The less impressive bit about that article is the fact that they cancelled gigs. The more impressive bit is like, that's a lot to have a short leg off.
That's a lot of bone to grow.
That's mental, isn't it?
In a tour, like.
Yeah.
Like, not even like they haven't even given him like a year to do it. Like, you've got to do it in this tour.
By the time we get to Memphis.
You've got to have grown 4 centimetres of bone. Come on.
It's weird, isn't it?
He should just hang around with Muse and then he won't have a complex
well, no,
anymore.
because he's got one long leg, hasn't he? Would it be easy? I mean, would it have been better for the tour? Here's a question. Would it have been better for the tour if he'd had his other leg shortened? Would that have been a quicker recovery time?
I reckon it'd just been better if they'd just given him one shoe with a platform in it.
Yeah. He had a complex about it. I don't know why, because we just laughed our heads off at it. So I don't know why he should feel self-conscious.
No, but what's getting me is like, you don't just book a tour in like a week. You go, like, if you're a big band like Weezer, you don't go say, oh, next week we're gonna tour across like Europe.
Yeah, I would do, but my leg's a bit short.
Yeah, like that's not an emergency operation.
No.
That's an operation that you'd plan for a very long time beforehand. So what I'm thinking is like, why did those two things coincide in the first place? And also, if he had his operation before to break his bone or whatever, so it could grow 4 centimetres, 4.4 centimetres even, so why didn't he just like do his gig in like a wheelchair? There's nothing wrong with his singing voice.
That's true.
But I mean, I know he would have been shorter if he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
I don't know, weird.
Now, this one is a fair enough reason to cancel a gig.
Yeah.
But the reason, this was Motley Crue, the reason they put forward for cancelling was because there had been, in the UK, there had been a large snowstorm, and the reason they put forward was there was too much snow on the venue, on the roof of many of the venues that they were going to play, so they cancelled it. Complete and utter rubbish. But that's the line they put out. The actual reason is Nicky Sixx, actually, the bass player with Motley Crue, actually died of an overdose. Thankfully got revived with 2 shots of adrenaline to the heart.
Yeah, the 7th time. Yep.
Yeah. I think if your bassist dies...
I know, but
even if he only dies for 5 minutes... I think if your bassist dies, you're probably allowed to cancel a gig.
I know, but he's died 6 times, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, you think they're like...
They're used to it by now.
But
God.
Anyway, I thought they were vaguely interesting.
That's pretty funny, to be fair.
So we set each other a challenge this week,
Yes.
and we've given ourselves 10 songs each.
Yes.
That maybe we haven't heard before.
Yeah.
And I think I purposely gave you some stuff that I thought you might hate as well.
Yeah.
Just because it makes it more interesting. Let's do one each then.
Okay, so the first, like, I'm not sure how to pronounce this either, but the first one that I listened to that you sent me was Greg Alan Isakov.
Yep, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Right, it's like a bit folky. It reminded me a little bit of Tom Odell.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Tom Odell, but yeah, I know what you mean, that sort of style.
Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of. Made me feel like I was on a wooden boat in the middle of the sea and it was a bit rainy. Like, that's kind of how I felt. I thought it was like, it sounds really happy, but the words were really sad.
I think that's what I like about it.
Yeah, see, I'm...
You didn't float your boat, I'm guessing?
No, because it just felt really sad. And
I bummed you out.
It did bum me out a bit. I was like, oh, this sounds nice. And then I started listening to the words and I was like, oh, man.
So the song I sent you was Saint Valentine.
Yeah.
And it is. In fact, what I really like about that song is its real harshness, because he's like, basically he goes and finds Saint Valentine and expecting, like, you know, he's the, you know, patron saint of, you know, romance and love, and he finds this guy like living in a shack and just utterly miserable. Not even Saint Valentine is like digging the love thing.
You know what? It hit a nerve, right? My birthday's on Valentine's Day. I was like, literally, like, I was like, frickin' hell.
So the first song you sent me was by, is it, how do you pronounce this? L-A-D?
Yeah.
Or Lad?
Yeah.
L-A-D?
Yeah, so, yeah, Lad, probably, Lad, or L-A-D, it doesn't matter, they pronounce it both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the song was Dance Floor.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, not normally my kind of thing, like, in terms of, like, the style, because it was dancey and quite synthy and stuff, but it was really good. It was really good. Like, I fully appreciated how good it was. Very upbeat. What I really loved was, like, I made some notes here. I loved the 80s synth on it. I thought that was great. It actually reminded me quite a bit of like Alex's songs when she came in and played her stuff. It in the sort of style of the sort of, it's dancey, but it's quite upbeat. There's a bit of retro, like 80s, 90s kind of stuff into there. So I actually quite like that. By the end of the song, I was like, yeah, this is all right. Then I got excited and downloaded another one of her songs, and I didn't like that one. So I wasn't sure. I think the one you sent me, I definitely preferred.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the other one you might have listened to was probably One More Night, which is more of a ballad.
It was that one, yeah.
Ballady one. Yeah, so they go between, they're kind of, it's very 80s. It's my friend's band. And they basically use really old synthesizers. They don't
right.
Yeah,
cool.
so they don't actually recreate that sound. They actually bought really old 70s and 80s synthesizers to actually play the sound authentically. Yeah, and they're sort of, all the songs are written specifically for Natalie, who sings. So they sort of encompass her personality. I mean, I don't know if you saw any photos of them or anything like that.
No, I didn't actually.
But she's basically this huge personality, and you can sort of, when you look at her, you can see how the song reflects that. And I chose it for you because I thought, well, it's kind of 80s.
Yeah,
kind of
it was very good.
thing.
I did like her song.
And yeah, I just thought it might be a little bit different.
It certainly wasn't. It was good. So yeah, definitely check them out, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'd recommend that. We've talked about Star Wars.
Yeah, Galactic Empire. Love. I'll go on to my next one then, because I already said about the Galactic Empire.
Yeah.
So I think it's Rews.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's Rews or Revs, but it's with a W anyway.
Yeah, so it's REWS. Right, so for me, when I listened to it, it reminded me of kind of early Paramore stuff. That's immediately what I thought. I was like, sounds like Paramore. And then I thought it sounds a bit emo-y. And then it also reminded me of the Kills. And I don't know if you know the Kills.
No, I'm not familiar with them.
So the Kills, the lead singer from the Kills joined with a band with Jack White called The Dead Weather or something like that. Yeah, like ages ago now. And it's kind of like that rocky, the more rocky version of the Ting Tings, I suppose. It kind of had kind of edgy, shouty thing going on with the harmonies, like, and that repetitiveness. That's what it was. It was the repetitiveness that kind of reminded me of the Kills. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I quite like it. But then what made me feel a bit sad about that song is that I think they need to take it back into the studio. You need to do something with the middle of it. It needs to go somewhere, because all the way through, it just does the same thing. And I wanted it to go somewhere else, and it just never went there.
That's perhaps that particular song. I think the album, there's some different styles on there, but I think it's really good.
Yeah, I did think it was really good. I just thought like maybe they could have done like a bit more of a key change at the end or something, or introduced a different idea.
Yeah, they're very I think they're very much like the 3-minute kind of pop song.
Yeah,
aren't they? Most of their songs are very, short, sharp. Do you want to listen to it? Should we play it for you guys? So you can,
you guys can hear it and see what you think.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is let's call them the the Rews. Apologies, guys. Thank you for letting us play your stuff as well, and I'm sorry if we are mispronouncing your name.
Pronounced it wrong.
This is I Miss You in the Dark. So the next song you sent me. Now this was really interesting. So this is a girl called Janelle
Monáe.
Monáe, yeah, Monae, and the song was called "Make Me Feel." Now I have to say, I was listening to this at work. I wasn't feeling it at all until I got to the chorus. And then I was like, "Yeah, boy, this is sweet. I love it." Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I was just listening to my email or whatever. But yeah, it's sweet. It was really MJ, wasn't it? There's some real sort of Michael Jackson kind of like vocal stuff in there. And then she swears.
Yep.
Which took me by surprise. It really made me smile. I was like, I really like this girl. She's good. Yeah, it's cool. And then what I was pleased about is I made this note in my head that like, oh, that's really Prince. There's so much of... I think if they haven't lifted the guitar bit from Kiss exactly, then they've changed it very slightly. But it's like, it's such a blatant kind of nod to Prince.
Did you look into why?
Yeah, and then I did a bit of reading about her, and I was like, oh, she was actually mentored by Prince, and so I was like, oh yeah, I could spot a Prince stuff. probably not that hard, because as you listen to the song, it's pretty blatantly obvious all the way through. She even sings like Prince, like the falsetto bit, That's the Way You Make Me Feel, like at the beginning of the chorus, it's some real Prince type vocals in there.
It's totally a nod to him.
It's absolutely.
I think she may have recorded some stuff in his studio back when he was obviously alive. It's like a bit grimy to begin with, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it goes into this proper like, it's just the way you make me feel, like that, and you're like, ow. And it got that kind of 80s nod to like that Prince song as well, Kiss and everything. I was obsessed with that song for ages.
I really liked it. It really took me by. It made me stop what I was doing.
Who have we got? Hang on.
Stephen Kellogg and the Sixers was the next one.
That's it, yeah. Stephen Kellogg and the Sixers. Right, when it first started, before he even started singing, I was like, is this country or is this Irish? Now, and I found out they're from Massachusetts, right? There's a huge Irish community in Massachusetts, in America, and that's where the Dropkick Murphys come from, things like that.
Yep.
And literally, I was like, that's why it freaking sounds Irish. I was like, damn, son. I was like, I picked that up even before he started singing, and it was a bit crazy. And the song itself was like, for me, it was like a really coming of age sort of song. It was like a journey kind of song. At first, I was a bit, it feels a bit somber. And then when it sort of started kicking off a bit, I was like, I felt really, not empowered, but I felt a bit more lifted by it.
I picked that one purely because of the quality of the lyric writing. And it's Satisfied Man, wasn't it, I sent you? Yeah. The storytelling in it is really good. I actually got the first time I sat and properly listened to the lyrics of it, I actually got quite emotional. I was like, that's actually properly good.
Yeah, it felt like a rite of passage kind of song, if that makes any sense to anybody. Like, I mean, obviously listen to it and you can see what I mean. The sort of song that if you could sing it to your own child. Yeah. Kind of. That's how I felt it was anyway. That's
Well, he sort of doesn't name check, but he mentions both his children in it as well, like in terms of like the dates that they were born and how much that affects him. Right, let's do a couple more each, and then we'll have a look at our topic for the episode. Yeah. So the next one that you sent me, all I wrote down was nuts. This was Betty Davis, and They Say I'm Different. Now, I don't know how to describe this other than that it's just bonkers. Like. The singing it's definitely unique. It was really interesting. The only thing put me off a little bit about this song was that I found the guitar hook in this particular song, which is They Say I'm Different, a little bit off-putting, if I'm honest. I don't know whether it's because I'm a guitarist and I was listening to the guitar more than anything else, but the hook was always in the background, and I thought it distracted me a little bit from listening to what she was singing. But that side, she's an interesting character. I went and downloaded her album and gave her album a good listen. Now, she's from... When was she around? Like, what...
So 70s, late 60s, 70s, so that kind of era.
What I initially thought about it, like, basically, I can't even describe it. You have to listen to Betty Davis, because it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. She's like all over the shop. It's kind of funk, soul. She's like in your face. She's like making weird noises. It's just, it's bonkers. And it's quite beautifully bonkers. I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, what annoyed me a little bit, which was actually unfounded, because I was like, I thought she was a current artist, and I was like, she's trying to be like really 70s kind of funk soul stuff, and I'm not sure how genuine it is. Yeah. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh no, she is actually from the 70s.
Yeah.
So she's doing it for real. Yeah. It's just completely over the top. Like, everything about her is just like...
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
Just...
Like, even
an onslaught.
Outfits.
Like, her hair, the way she looks, everything.
Everything about it. That's what I chose it, because it's like Marmite. Betty Davis, she's Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. And I thought, this is quite interesting, because some of the songs on the album, I think it's a little bit like, yeah, all right, you kind of did that one in the last song. And some of it I'm indifferent to. But that song in particular, I like it because it starts up with the kind of this really weird vocal that you've not really heard probably before. It's like, it's kind of, sometimes it's a bit gruff, sometimes it goes really high pitched and it's a bit screechy and you're like wondering what on earth is going on. And then towards the end of the song, she completely changes and the song changes completely, and she starts going on about Chuck Berry and like random stuff, and I just liked it because it was random, I think.
And the other one you sent me, which was by a band. Oh, it's an ice cream man.
Whoop, whoop.
So this is a random fact for you. Our local ice cream man is my ex-drummer from my band.
Amazing.
Rick just popping in to be part of our musicians podcast. Yeah, so the artist you sent me was Fat City Strut. Or have I got this wrong way around? That's the name of the song.
I think that's the name of the song.
Yeah, and Madrill or Mandrill?
Mandrill, I think.
Mandrill was the artist. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I liked it. The song seems to like really change vibe. Like after about a minute, it was that which took me by surprise a little bit. But I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. Those
kind of stuff. It's kind of again that soul-y.
It's really like
kind of thing.
It felt like it wouldn't be out of place in like a Tarantino film.
Yeah.
Like it was, it's that kind of funk soul type stuff.
Yeah, you've probably noticed from the list of stuff I've sent you.
Yeah.
It's kind of all vaguely like that.
I love it, and I love looking at the pictures of these bands as well.
Yeah, I know,
they just look so freaking cool.
You just sort of like, I'm never going to be that cool.
Yeah, I'm never ever going to be that cool.
I just wish I wasn't so lame. I listen to all this music that makes me feel like I'm really cool, but I'm not at all. So I listened to the Strumbellas, is that right?
Yeah.
Strumbellas. And it just sounds really sad.
Yeah, again, I sort of had a theme of sending you stuff, and they describe their sound as a really uplifting funeral. And I thought that was quite a nice way of putting it, because musically it's really upbeat a lot of the time, but his vocals and the stuff he's singing about is really sad. I quite like that juxtaposition, but I'm guessing it's just bummed you out.
Yeah, it does. Like this is crazy because like you've probably got a flavour of what the kind of random stuff. Like it's not very meaningful. The stuff I've sent you is like there's no real deep and meaningful lyrics.
You've got some like, proper like funk, like
it's all just
jazzy,
like
soul-y,
boogie, dance, shake your booty, woo. Yeah, and I'm like that's the limit of like how intelligent I am when it comes to music. I'm just like, I'm gonna shake, woo, boogie, and then Simon sends me this stuff and it's just like emotionally draining.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It wasn't. Yeah, to be fair, I dig.
Like it's on the edge of the kind of folky thing, if you know what I mean. Like it's got.
They're a kind of Canadian folk band.
Yeah, I listened to the song and I just felt really sad. I was like, I don't know how much more I can listen to this, making me feel sad. Whereas, like, I suffer from sadness quite a lot, which is why I listen to music that tells me to shake my booty. To counteract.
They're quite an engaging band to see live. If you see videos of them, because they're actually really uplifting in their performance and the instrumental and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's just the guy. He said himself, like he's tried to write upbeat lyrics, he just doesn't. Just nothing comes out.
Sometimes people just can't though.
Like
you either can or you can't, and
he puts it to like uplifting melodies a lot of the time, but like the actual content is fairly dark. Oh yeah, that's what kind of resonates with me. So we wanted to talk about like how obviously we had a little experiment like chucking songs at each other, and actually I think we've kind of what I'm pleased about in a way, although I've bummed you out, is that we haven't just gone, oh yeah, I love that stuff, or if stuff we have, like, I hadn't heard of any of the stuff you sent me, and some stuff resonated, some stuff didn't, that's kind of what it's all about, really, isn't it?
Before we go, so there was one particular song that you sent me that I think everyone needs in their life.
Okay, good.
Right. And it was Hayes Carl. She left me for Jesus.
Now, weirdly, this is the one I nearly didn't send you, and I was like, she might appreciate it.
No, this is right. This is, everyone needs this. I sent this to my friend as well. Right? So basically, when you first hear that, you think, oh my God, it's going to be some really sad song, and some guy's going to be talking about his woman who's left him to, I don't know, for church or whatever, and you're sort of a bit what on earth is this entails. Right. So it is hardcore cheesy country. It's satirical as... Like, that's all I can say. She's left me for Jesus, but he's going to kick his ass. And one line is, that freak in his sandals. It got me because when I was first playing it, I was like, what? And then it carried on and I really was listening to it. And I was like, this guy's a freaking joke. How has this guy not got lynched yet? Like down in freaking Louisiana or wherever.
I love it.
Like, it's hilarious.
A lot of his stuff is like that. A lot of his stuff is in a similar vein. I mean, this is probably the most overtly like comical one, but I love him. He's brilliant because he doesn't take the genre seriously.
It's hilarious.
He doesn't take the piss out of the genre, but it's...
No. But,
what I love about this is like it's some hillbilly guy, and his wife's obviously left him to like follow the church.
Yeah.
But he doesn't understand. He thinks she's run off with a guy called Jesus. And he's like, I'm going to kick Jesus' butt if I find him. Like,
he was like saying she was calling his name out in bed.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's hilarious. It's really funny. And it's like, if I ever see this Jesus, I'm going to kick his ass. It's so good, honestly. I sent it to my friend and she was feeling a bit glum. And I was like, oh, listen to this. And she just replied with, what the... Like, and I was like, just listen to it. And she was like, I am. What the hell? And then afterwards, it went silent for a really long time. And then she came back with, I'm gonna kick his ass. I was like, sold.
It's good. Yeah, check him out. Hayes Carl. It's Hayes,
Yes.
and then I think it's
RLL, I think.
RLL. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't remember how to spell it to look him up. But he's great. So we've got a couple more, but we'll save them for a little bit later. I wanted to talk quickly around something everyone can relate to, especially if you're over. Well, you can't if you're a teenager or your early 20s probably, but
you will eventually.
You will eventually. If you ask someone who's over like 30 what they're listening to, they're generally still listening to the same music they were listening to when they were a teenager. It's a well-known that we all kind of go back to like those are our strongest memories and the music we latch onto generally. I mean, I think as musicians we probably have a bit more wider scope of stuff maybe we listen to than the general population sometimes. And my music taste has definitely expanded over the years, but my core is still very much of what I was listening to back in the thick.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, is there a scientific reason for why that is the case? And it turns out actually there's been quite a lot of studies around this. I found this particularly interesting. So I'm going to reference a guy called Mark Joseph and he did an article on Stern, which is like a scientific kind of magazine website. Now This is a direct quote from him. He said, as I plod through my 20s, I've noticed a strange phenomenon. The music I listened to as a teenager means more to me than ever. And with each passing year, the new songs on the radio sound like nonsense. Like, how many times have we all gone, modern music's all rubbish. Like, I don't like it. I think we can all like kind of relate to that. And he says, like, I listen to music of the top 10s from like 2013 and it gives me a headache. Whereas I listen to the top 10s of like 2003 when I was like early 20s and I get really happy. So he was saying there is actually a scientific reason for this, and it's been looked at by psychologists and neuroscientists, and what they've discovered is the songs that we listen to at certain times of our life between the ages of kind of 15 and 22 or 14 and 22 or even 12, I think it starts basically through your sort of adolescent, have a disproportionate power over our emotions.
Right.
It's not musical nostalgia necessarily. It's actually more of a sort of neuronic kind of command in our brain that does it. So this is what I thought was really interesting. So what the study says is there's a number of things that go on when you listen to music, and this tries to explain why we have this phenomenon that we don't like modern music and we like the stuff we used to listen to. So what happens is when you listen to a song, what it does is it stimulates your auditory cortex in your brain, and that converts what we hear into the rhythm and the melodies and the harmonies so that we hear it as a whole. I hear it as a whole piece of music. So that goes on. From that point on, what we then do when we're listening to the song, it starts to stimulate other parts of our brain. Mm-hmm. So if we sing along to a song, it starts to activate your premotor cortex, which helps you plan and coordinate movements because you're singing along to it.
Right.
So that sparks the second. So you got two areas of your brain firing and resonating with the song. If you dance along, that actually stimulates a different part of your brain altogether, and you start to synchronize your kind of movements, and that's all to do with your neurons synchronizing with the beat of the music. Now, two other things. If you pay attention to the lyrics, then you're actually activating what they call your parietal cortex, which is where you make sense of stuff and you shift and maintain attention to different stimuli.
Right.
And there's even a third one,
Yeah.
which if you happen to listen to a song and it's got particular memories and stuff for you, like if you would, I don't know, listen to the first time you met someone or you know, sad stuff, then every time you hear that song, actually it then activates a fourth part of your brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, which is the bit right at the front. And that's all to do with your memories and your emotions and your personal life and relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's actually like 4 things going on when you listen to a song. Now that doesn't go any way to explaining why we are more nostalgic about stuff, but that's what happens when you listen to a song. So what they were saying is, every time you listen to your favourite songs, your brain, it stimulates your kind of pleasure circuit in your brain, a bit like if you took cocaine or whatever. There's an influx of dopamines and serotonin and oxytocin and stuff like that that release chemicals into your brain that make you feel good. So the more we hear a song that we like, the more our brains get used to like having that flow of dopamines and stuff like that. So actually, if there's a song that you love, the more you listen to it, actually exponentially, the more you love that song.
Yeah. Okay.
Apart from Wet, 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 you know.
Yeah.
We all listen to that for like 16 weeks at a time and we now hate it. But
yeah.
So that kind of makes more sense. But then this is the crux. Between the ages of 12 and 22, our brains undergo kind of almost much more rapid kind of neurological development. So what it seems to be is the music that we love during that time when we're 12 to 20 actually have much deeper connections into our brain, and they're actually hardwired into the sort of chemical makeup of our brain to spark these type of emotions. So, you know, something that has a slight emotional attachment, if it happened in that kind of area when, you know, a time of your life when you're growing up, actually the emotional connection is way more stronger than if there was a song now that sparked an emotional connection. Yeah. So that goes some way to kind of, so, you know, actually we're kind of hardwired. So you're just unlucky, basically, if you grew up in a time of shit music, like when you're in your teens.
Awkward.
I thought that was quite interesting. So there's another theory about it. That's more the physical thing. There's more of a sort of a psychological thing called the sociality theory. This is similar. Basically, what this says is that time in your life is when you become you. Up to that point, you're just, you know, you're absorbing, you know, stuff from your parents, and, you know, so it's when you learn how to make your own way in the world and what defines you. Yeah. And actually, like, the soundtrack to that time of your life, when you are discovering who you are and what you want to be in life and what you want to do, actually helps you like to deep root this stuff even further. So it's not a bad thing to go, I don't like modern music, it's all boom boom boom, it's not as good as the old stuff. It's a natural reaction, and I think it's like why every generation kind of like hates the one that comes after them, you know, in a way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I thought that was quite interesting that there was actually some research to say that it's not just you're getting old.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is really weird. It also, when I read that, it also made me realise why I absolutely can't stand some stuff. Yeah. And I'm not talking about newer stuff, because a lot of newer stuff, like, it goes in and out so quickly, I can't keep up with it. I just try and listen to newer stuff that's worth me listening to in order to make money from it. I'm not going to lie. That's the only reason I would listen to it is if I need to play it for someone's wedding or something. But when it comes to stuff that I listen to in that period of time that I relate to somebody that I dislike, for example. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I hate that music. And people are like, why though? That band's amazing. I'm like, not to me, they're not. freaking hate them. And now I kind of know why. One of my favourite albums was an album that I discovered when I was 15. And I've still got it in my car. I still listen to it on a regular basis. And I can listen to it over and over and over. Like, it's crazy.
And I think if we're honest, some of those, I've got a few of them. And if I was to be totally, like, impartial from a musicality point of view, some of those albums aren't that great.
Yeah. No, definitely.
But I think they're the bee's knees.
Yeah, same. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of strange, isn't it?
I mean, the logical conclusion is, the depressing thing that you could take from all this is like, oh, when you get older, you're never ever going to fall in love with a song as deeply. but that, to be fair, that's what the other thing that happens is you aren't able when you're younger to appreciate stuff on multiple levels. If something resonates with you, you take it at absolute face value and stuff. And as we get older, especially, I think as musicians as well, it helps. But you can appreciate much wider variety of music because you're appreciating on different levels. Like some of the stuff you sent me, some of the stuff didn't light me up inside, and I didn't get any kind of emotional like, oh, I really want to listen to that again. Yeah. But I could sit there quite and go, I really like that guitar, or I really like that the way they're phrasing that, or the strut, and I can take a much more kind of pragmatic kind of like. There's loads of elements in those that I really enjoy.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I think that's something you're just not able to do. There was a great article by on the NME. I won't read it out, but he had a massive go. The writer had a massive go at people who say that they don't discover new music anymore. Like, when you get older, you don't. I'm still listening to the same bands I was when I was younger, and I never find anything. He had a massive rant about like these people who say that. They never cared anyway. They just like... And I think he makes an interesting point. And I get annoyed about this as well. Right. When you ask someone, oh, what music are you into? And they go, oh, I like a bit of everything. Like, for me...
No, you freaking don't.
all I hear is, I don't really care about music.
Yeah. You can't... that's the thing as well. It's... What you've got to understand is about music is that, there's new music being made constantly, all the time, every single day. There's always going to be thousands of new bands, thousands of new music acts, thousands of new songs written all the time. But there's also, because of that has happened every single day for the past since whenever, that also means there's also thousands and thousands and thousands of songs and music and bands and things that have been made years ago that you might not even know about.
Yeah.
So, like, people always, like, struggle and think, oh, I haven't got any new music to listen to. Focusing on that word, new. Like, just because it's new to you doesn't mean that it's new.
Well, that's exactly why I was struggling when I put this sort of idea for this episode together. The new bit was jarring with me a little bit.
Yeah.
But what new to me is fine.
Exactly. That's. I think that's the way you got to approach it. Because if you're looking for music that you haven't heard before, maybe. Yeah. That's the way to look at it. That it might open up a lot more avenues for you.
I don't know if this is a normal thing or just something that I do, but I really like, if I connect with something, I really like it, I'll go on Wikipedia, I'll go on their website and I'll read up about them and I'll find out where they're from. And and if it says things like, oh, they used to play in a band with this person, I'll go and check out that band as well. And I'm into like rock music. I've really, really, really gone back through like, okay, well, who are these influences and who are these? And suddenly, from listening to Nirvana, I'm suddenly listening to Chuck Berry and early kind of like 50s like rock and roll, and then I discover, well, who was Chuck Berry's influences? And then there's a sister Rosetta Tharpe who's like,
she's a queen.
She's an absolute like legend. And suddenly you discover all these like kind of acts. Like I don't understand. If you love something, why would you not want to find out about where it came from and go back and delve through the history of it and find out all these other stuff? I mean, some of it you're going to find is going to be rubbish, but like for me, that's the exciting bit. It's like, you're right, there's new bands every day, and I happen to love 70s and 60s stuff. A load. And the beauty thing is, now when I'm discovering it, if you were sitting in 1962, there's 8 years of stuff that hasn't even been invented yet. You can't delve into it. Now we've got the beauty to go back and I can listen to absolutely anything from that period. Like
back catalogues,
bootlegs, and
everything.
And it's like the Aretha stuff. Like I'm like a kid in a candy shop.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because I remember what I used to do, because I didn't know how to really find music that I wanted to listen to. So what I used to do was listen to the music that I had, and sometimes they would reference other bands in their lyrics. And when I was 14, 15, the band that I used to listen to all the time was the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay, so within the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they mention Jimi Hendrix, Bo Diddley, Butthole Surfers, Ohio Players, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, who are they? So I looked into Jimi Hendrix. I didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was when I was younger because my parents never listened to Jimi Hendrix. I was brought up on Elvis and Buddy Holly. I didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was. So I looked into that, found Jimi Hendrix. That led me straight to the Rolling Stones because they talk about Dolly Dagger. Dolly Dagger was a song written about his girlfriend, and Mick Jagger cut his finger and she licked the blood off a jagged edge. Mick Jagger's finger is a jagged edge. I looked into that, so that's how I found that. And then I went down that road, and then going from there, then I started looking into really old bootleg Beatles stuff, like really old stuff, because I went back down that 50s avenue as well from the Rolling Stones, who were influenced heavily by Buddy Holly. I'd gone full circle. I was like, well, I know Buddy Holly stuff like the back of my hand. So then I started exploring further out of there, and that's when I started to learn about Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Yeah.
A lot of her stuff is not recorded in an amazing quality. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is.
Well, it's 30s and 40s, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it's really.
But it's fantastic. She's a guitarist and a blues guitarist, I suppose you'd call her. Like half of the guitarists I would imagine of modern beginnings of rock and roll music are gonna be influenced by her.
Yeah. Well, Chuck Berry's always the one who everyone goes, he heavily influenced pretty much everyone who's played guitar, the Beatles. But you look at who was Chuck Berry influenced by, it's people like Rosetta Tharpe.
Yeah.
And real people there'd never been a black woman playing non-gospel stuff. Well, she's playing gospel music, like religious music, but she started playing pubs and bars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that was like just not a done thing.
Yeah.
She's playing electric guitar. That wasn't a done thing for a nun to do.
Yeah, she's
a nun.
Got an electric guitar and she is making this thing like sing,
yeah.
Isn't she? Like she's so freaking cool. Like I tell you, she's awesome.
And talk about stage presence. She's got. Have you seen the video? I think it's actually recorded in England.
Oh, it's at the train station.
Disused train station.
Yeah.
If you ever want to see someone who is just so much energy, like bubbling out of her, that is such a. I mean, it's black and white footage. Blew me away. That was.
Oh, it's awesome, isn't it? But that's how I first started to, venture down different avenues in music and try and figure stuff out. And
I'm slightly older than you, but I think we both kind of experienced this. We unfortunately, there's no excuse for it these days, but we probably went through a decade when it went a bit dark for a bit because you're too old to be going out clubbing. And you're not at school and you're not talking to your mates every single day. So you're not getting the influences from hearing stuff on the thing. You're starting to get a bit older, so you're kind of like, oh, well, the radio stations are a bit crap. I don't want to listen to them anymore. Like chart music, I'm not really interested in that. And it was about 10 years before the streaming stuff and YouTube really kicked off. So I think we did have a period where we weren't discovering that much new music. Because it was, in order to go out, you'd have to physically buy everything on CD, and it was too expensive, and you just didn't. Yeah. But I think now, in the last 5 or 10 years, YouTube, the algorithms on iTunes and Spotify and that kind of stuff.
Oh, they're awesome.
Are brilliant. I get really excited every Friday because iTunes sends me a new music playlist.
Yeah.
And it's like the old Britannia music, when you used to get a CD a month, kind of whatever.
I still got one of them.
And if you don't want it, you send it back.
Yeah.
Kind of, or you record it and then send it back. I think it's brilliant. I'm just probably discovering 5 bands a week that I'd never heard of that I'm really enjoying listening to.
Yeah, I do have. So on Spotify, they have a similar thing. They have a daily mix.
Yep.
One of my daily mixes is really funk and soul, which will be anything from James Brown to, I don't know, Earth, Wind and Fire. You know what I mean? That full spectrum. And also, I remember when I was younger, they used to have in the music shops, they don't have those anymore. So when you go and buy a CD, back in the day, right, they had these booths with headphones in them.
Yep.
And you could choose the CD, and then you listen to it in the booth, and you could listen to the CD before you bought it. It was like a try before you buy.
Yeah, I used to do it every day on the way home from school. Like,
yeah, that's what I used to do all the time.
Mentioning our price for a few episodes, but like
our price. See, mine was MVC. I used to go in there after school every day.
They had like 6 CDs loaded, and you push the red button, and it used to play the tracks. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome, I used to love it.
That'd be the highlight of my day. I couldn't wait to finish school to get into town to listen to an album. I remember there was an album by a heavy metal band called Curb Dog that I never had enough money to buy. I just didn't have any pocket money, so for like a month I went and listened to it like every day, like in the shop.
I used to buy the singles though as well. Like I used to buy. Right, this is going to scare a couple of you, but a CD album used to be about £15. Right, that was my entire paper round for the week. Right, so I would save up my paper round, and I'd be like, oh, I can afford 2 CDs. If I can get one for £7.99. And maybe one in the bargain bin, I can get 2 CDs this week. And that's sad, isn't it? Right? When now you're just like so frivolous. You're like, oh, well, a track's 60p, right?
Well, all free. You know, you're just streaming it, and
yeah, it's crazy.
You don't even bother listening to it. Like, I tell you what one weird thing on that. So I went round a friend's house, and I had this group of friends who were like proper like metalers at school, and I kind of looked up to them because I was never that cool. I was never in that one. Not that they were cool, but I was never in that kind of crowd. But I used to kind of hang around with them a little bit. They were into like much more heavy metal than I was, and we went round and they had a load of albums they were listening to. And one of the albums I saw like at this guy's house, but we didn't play it, was Jamiroquai, and I just assumed like, oh, it must be a like heavy metal album, right? So I bought Jamiroquai off the back of that, going, oh yeah, it must be good because this guy likes it.
Yeah.
And I put it on, and I was like, what the freaking hell is this? What is this? It's like it was the first album, like Emergency on Planet Earth.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just weird. I hate it. But because I spent 15 quid on it, I forced myself to listen to it. And I'd have to say that is in my top 10 albums of all time. And I did that quite a lot. I mean, sure, there's about 20 CDs in my collection that piss poor albums, but I've listened to that like because I've spent the damn money on it.
Yeah.
I'm too stubborn to take it back or anything.
Yeah, I remember when I was at college, so I was 16, just started college, and even though I knew no one there, I ended up being friends with all the students in the year above me. I don't know how. So they were all sort of 17, 18. You might not think that that's a big age difference, but it actually is in terms of like your mental maturity.
Yeah.
Like, even though like to me an 18-year-old is immature as, like it's such a weird difference. If you're 18, hang around with a 16-year-old, I tell you, you'll be annoyed as anything. By the end of it, you'll be like, bloody hell, 16-year-olds are so annoying, right? And they used to say, oh, have you heard of this band? Have you listened to this? You know, most of the time I'd be like, oh no, I haven't heard that. I don't know what that is. And I'd feel really like, oh my God, I need to know what that is.
Yeah.
Because these older people than me, they know what this is, and I need to fit in with them, and I need to know what this is. I'll go straight down to MVC the next day, you know, on a Saturday probably, and I'd go rifling through the bargain bin, I'd go through all the racks, and I'd find the artist that they mentioned. And it might have not been the album that they were talking about, but I was like, it's the artist. I'm looking for the artist. And if I can get a CD of that, at least I can say I've heard it. And I used to just buy, like, say, some of the albums, like, and, you know, this would be a red flag. If the album was like £5, you'd be like, oh, it's a whack album. It's whack. If it's not 15 quid, it's not worth it. It's going to be crap, right? But I used to buy it anyway so I could at least listen to it and get a feeling for what that band was like. And I discovered loads of bands like that. Like, bear with me, I was 16 and I wasn't allowed to go to town on my own until I was 15, all right? Let's bear that in mind. Okay, so Motorhead.
You grew up in the hood, though, to be fair.
Yeah, in the maidenhood. Yeah, Motorhead, I discovered like that.
Sweet.
I wasn't brought up on Motorhead. My family didn't know what Motorhead was. That was the first time I discovered it. The Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I was like, damn. A lot of Nirvana. I bought 3 Nirvana albums because everyone was wearing Nirvana t-shirts, and I was like, well, I've only got one Nirvana album, and that was Nevermind. And everyone was going on about Bleach and what's it called, In Utero. So I bought those. Pearl Jam, Bush, all that stuff. I was like, well, I don't know what that is. Why is it like, you know? And Tenacious D, best choice ever, that one.
Oh, that. I love Tenacious D.
Tenacious D was Tenacious D and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, I reckon, was the best investments I ever made.
I think you're quite similar to me though. It's like you take so much pleasure out of like finding this new music that I just can't wait to get to a music shop and have a browse through. And like, now we don't need to go to music shops necessarily. You can get it online and stuff. But like, I spend so much time listening to like other stuff, and I think it's all right to go, that's not for me, because actually now with the internet, like, it's different now. I haven't spent 15 quid on it. I don't have to force myself to listen to it and like it, and I'm not trying to impress anyone either. I'm not trying to get into a group of friends and go, oh, I like that too. I'm old enough and mature enough to like not really care what other people think, so I can just really delve into a genre and find what I like, and if no one else likes it, then I really couldn't give a monkeys. There's more music being made every single day that I'm never ever going to be able to listen to in my life.
Yeah, I know.
There's just too much.
It's crazy, isn't it? There's so much. I know.
But I don't flog a dead horse. If you're not digging something,
just move on. Doesn't matter, does it?
Move on. My friend's going to kill me for saying this because she told me about it.
Yeah.
And then she was like, don't leak my idea. Don't mention it on your podcast.
So it's totally going to rinse
I'm going to mention it on my podcast because it's an interesting way of seeing if she's actually listening to my podcast or not. Because if I don't get called up on it, I'm like, right, well, I've got leverage on you.
Nice.
Because you said you listened and you didn't. She's got this thing with her best mate called Tuesday.
Okay, yeah.
Funnily enough, on a Tuesday. They have to send each other new songs, and I like that. I like
That's
it because
cool,
it's a pun, but I like it because it's like, no, every Tuesday, boom. Mixtapes, are they still a thing?
Right, so interestingly, the last time I received a mixtape was probably when I was about 18. I used to make mixtapes, and we're not talking a CD with songs written on the frickin' top of it. We're talking actual tape. And I bought tapes from Dixon's online. What I did was I made a playlist on Spotify, and then I recorded it through my stereo. So you have to have a stereo with a tape player. You have to go a bit old school. So I put my laptop Spotify through the phono in the back of the stereo, like old school, and then I pressed record on the tape player to make the tape, and I did loads of them, and I did them as gifts one year. I just feel it's something nice to actually have the tape.
I had a bit of a kind of guy crush relationship with this guy at work about 10 years ago. We really hit it off in terms of like talking about music over lunch one day, and started this for about 6 months. We just kept bringing in like CDs. We spent like all weekend like making each other like mixtapes and bringing them in. It was like a proper like
little bromance
thing going on
musical
there.
bromance,
and I loved it, and I found loads of stuff actually. That's where Hayes Carl, that's how I discovered Hayes Carl.
Oh, awesome.
And the other band that I sent you, which I'm pretty sure had your feedback on the other stuff, you're gonna hate them, was that Drive By Truckers.
I liked them actually.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. I did like Drive By Truckers. Where's my notes? Yes.
But that's where I discovered them from as well.
Yeah, because, right, do you know what? With them, so my friend was going on about, what's his name, the Gambino thing, and, this is America, but right, I'm being controversial.
Childish Gambino.
I freaking hate that. I think it's rubbish. I'm just like, Rage Against the Machine was like talking about that 20 years ago. Shut up. Not interested. It's been done. Get over it. And everyone's like, oh my God, but he's so amazing. And I'm like, he's not. He's just Danny Glover's son, all right? He's already rich. Shut up. He's had a leg in. Right. I'm not really a fan. Apparently his music speaks to people. I'm like, yeah, well, you've never listened to anything else, have you? That's just a case of one of those things. It's been spoon-fed to people, so everyone thinks it's freaking amazing, and I just don't get it. But with the Drive-By Truckers, they were talking about exactly the same thing that he's singing about, but they're actually singing it like it freaking means something.
Yeah. What did I send you? What it means?
What it means.
Yeah. Their latest album, American Band, I mean, it came out just before Trump got in, but it's a great summary of, I think, some of the disengagement that is in America at the moment.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, the other really, really good song on that is a song, it's actually about Robin Williams, but it's not explicit about Robin Williams. It's about someone suffering mental health problems. It obviously talks about the suicide stuff. Really upbeat, I'm sure everyone wants to listen to that.
Yeah,
but
they are.
But it's freaking genius. It's such a hard listen, but it's so good.
Yeah. When I first listened to it, obviously I was like, oh God, this is really sad. and it bummed me out. But even though I was bummed out, I wasn't like, I'm not gonna just stop listening to it. And I actually looked into them a bit. I looked into how long they've been going, and what other kind of things they do, and they share the songwriting, so they swap between.
The singer's different in a lot of songs as well.
Exactly.
That really freaked me out when I first listened to it. I was like, hang on, this sounds like a different guy.
Yeah, so whoever's leading the song has written it, so they take it in turns, which means that they equally get a chance to say what they want to say, I think, and it keeps it quite interesting because the songwriting method is not always going to be the same. I would say it's more on the folk side than country, personally. That's how it felt to me.
That album particularly. Like, some of the earlier stuff is a bit more kind of raucous. I tell you what also stopped me on a completely different vein. One of the ones you sent me was Man Funk by Guts.
Yeah!
Now
with Laurent Thomas.
Man, it's just, I love it. It's hilarious.
Isn't
like,
it?
the beat immediately got me, and then the lyrics are just, I'm going to read them out because they're just absolutely bonkers.
The genius.
They are absolutely genius. It couldn't be further away from Drive-By Truckers, but like, it's just brilliant. Listen to this. Updated all my stats and my breath smelling like Similac. Can tell by your friendly chat that you're up for a milky wax. These notes will entice you. My chest hair ignite you. My chest hair will entice you. Before the night is done, we'll have lots of fun. It's just Sex Panther on the chase. That scent you want to taste. It's just amazing.
What's the one about? It says something like
It'll funk you till the cradle rocks.
That's
it's just
it.
my man funk.
It'll funk you till the cradle rocks.
I love it. It's
all the rest of their stuff though. Guts is not like that.
No. Okay.
So Guts in itself, he's not really a band. He's like a DJ, I think. Like a DJ and producer, so he has lots of featured artists, and each time he does a tune, he kind of embraces that artist and what they sound like. I think from kind of listening to him, and he's very, very much centered on the beats and the rhythmical side of the music. So then, after sort of listening to Guts, and it's Man Funk is very different from the rest of his stuff. The rest of his stuff is a lot of it's quite instrumental and kind of a lot of jazz influences in there. So then I listened to Laurent Thomas, who's a jazz player. He's a trumpeter, I believe, but he's also a vocalist as well, and I believe he leads a band. But his stuff isn't disgusting funk like that either, right? His stuff's quite mellow, but sometimes it goes a little bit raucous, right? So they obviously got together and were like, let's just make something filthy.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna whiz through some of these ones because we're running out of time. But
no worries.
I pretty much everything you sent me, I appreciated all of it in at least one way. There wasn't a song there it wasn't part of the song I went, yeah, I love it. Some stuff I loved. It was really, really good. Graham Central Station I thought was great. Very that also reminded me very much of a Tarantino type. The types of stuff he would generally use. They've got a keyboard riff on there that's just like, oh, I love it. It's really cheeky. That was great. You sent me your friend's band, LEX. LX.
Yep, LX.
That was great. That was really good. And I have to say, it's not my first choice of genre like that I normally listen to. Man, they can write a good pop song. She's got a great voice, hasn't she?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Really, really like that.
Yeah, LX is kind of electro pop, I suppose you would call it. It's got that rocky edge as well, though.
I thought they were really decent. I ended up listening to quite a bit of their stuff, and I have to say, make me want to dig into it and listen to it. I thought that was that was brilliant. There was one that just like I thought, have you sent me something off the Shaft soundtrack, like the Gap Band? Yeah. It's just the trumpets in there. They're sick. They're like just they're amazing.
That tune is so good. It's called Shake.
It's great. It's really, really good. What I really liked about that, like at the very end, the vocals start like mimicking like the bass guitar. It's proper good. You got to listen to it.
It's got
I thought that was proper good. The barcades were good. I like that. Yeah,
it's more of a jam at the end, isn't it?
Yeah,
it like goes for a jam.
It went on a bit. I had to say, I think what did I write? They've managed to have a lot going on, but still make it feel very roomy. There's there's so much going on. There's so many different instruments and like harmonies and all that kind of stuff. But like they all kind of interplay with each other really nicely.
Yeah, it's got like a kind of percussion jam. That's the only way I can describe it at the end.
Yeah.
Which isn't like my favourite bit of the song. My favourite bit's at the beginning with the vocals where it goes, "Your love is like the Holy Ghost, ba-da-ba-ba-da."
I feel like they got excited and like everyone bought like every instrument they owned.
Darren, bring your maracas.
And then you sent me another random one.
Yes.
Like proper random.
Yes.
Which is the Hackney Colliery Band. Like a traditional kind of brass band playing like covers of like well-known tracks. So you sent me No Diggity.
Yeah.
It's just genius. I love it.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I went on to check out. Now, what I love more than No Diggity, although that is really good, they did a cover of. They did basically a Prodigy EP. Mm-hmm. It's just ridiculous.
It's really cute, though. I love it.
It's good.
Where was it? Tired Lion.
Oh yeah,
when you sent me,
yeah,
Tired Lion. What song? I only wrote the artist down.
Now I sent you a song called. It was off the album Dumb Days, and I was really
Cinderella.
I couldn't work out which one to send you, so I sent you Cinderella Dracula, which isn't actually my favourite song, but it's the one I thought that you might enjoy the most.
It reminded me of is it Catatonia?
Yeah.
It reminded me of that.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it made me really feel like I was back in the 90s.
That particular song is very much like that, yeah.
Really, like I was like, freaking hell, I've just got in a time machine and I'm listening to like Garbage and Catatonia, and like it made me really feel like that.
Did you like or not?
Yeah, no, I did like it. I felt really like nostalgic. Like it was really weird. I was
They're cool. They're an Aussie band.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had a little read up on them. Like, again, like the same thing. I have a little read, see what they're about. And the other one that you sent me, there was one called Free Recovery.
Yep.
Right, from what I can tell, they're really new. Well, not really new, but like they're making music now.
Yeah.
But
they're an unsigned band from, well, they might be signed to a small label, but they're from Guildford.
Yeah, they sound really grungy to me.
They almost sound like they're doing an impression of Pearl Jam.
That's what I thought.
And,
that's immediately what came to my mind. And it was a bit scary.
It sounds so much like Eddie Vedder.
Literally does. Like, I was like, whoa.
Like, if it could put people off, but they have their own original material, and they also play a load of Pearl Jam and grunge covers. And they're essentially a grunge band.
And then the other one, Milk Teeth. Now, before I even listened to this, I was like, right, it's going to be punk. Milk Teeth is going to be punk. Because the name of the song was something about okayness or something.
Owning your okayness.
That's it, owning your okayness. And I was like, that is so pop punk. Like, if that's not the name of a pop punk song, I was just like, okay, that's a MySpace kind of thing. Like, that was all the images it was bringing to me was like, and then when I listened to it, I was like, bloody hell, it sounds like Letters to Cleo. Like,
it does, yeah, I never think about that.
Yeah, like that's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh my gosh, like that was like another, like it felt like a nostalgia trip.
That was you can tell my kind of grunge 90s kind of
the flavours that you like, definitely
coming back in.
Yeah. So I was surprised by the Stephen Kellogg one and the Hayes Carr one. I was actually a bit surprised by the Galactic Empire one, right? but the other ones, the ones that felt really nostalgic and 90s, I wasn't surprised that you'd sent me them.
Yeah. No, they're all new bands, those ones. Free Recovery from Guildford. I think Milk Teeth are maybe like from Bristol way or something. They're sort of an up and coming UK band. And Tired Lion are doing pretty well, but they are still relatively, in their infancy, and they're from Oz. But they're new bands, but they're very much influenced by that. It's cool. So we're going to play one of those tracks at the end of this podcast. I think that's probably time to kind of wrap it up. If you're still with us out there, thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you for listening to the entirety of season 1 of Stress Pubs Rock and Roll. We will be back with season 2, and we will also, in the interim, there's more stuff to come. Yeah. Expect the next episode you hear to be slightly less music related, but but comedy gold.
Equally as entertaining.
Yes, and we will see you very soon. Keep in contact with us on Facebook, facebook.com/Si and Kirsty podcast. We're on Instagram at
SPR&R.
SPR&R podcast.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed the first 10 episodes, then please tell other people. Please share away. We'll see you really soon.
And review us. Please write.
Oh yeah,
reviews.
Leave us a review.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you to do a 5-star review. Obviously, you're more than welcome to.
I think you should.
Okay.
Do you know how much effort goes into this?
You
people?
review us honestly, but Kirsty, yeah, quite rightly, just give us a good review.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't bother.
Yeah. If you ain't got any nice things to review, don't review at all. We'll get no reviews. That's it now.
So we're going to lead out with a thank you to Free Recovery for letting us play their track. I'm going to try and get down to see them. They're so local and I haven't seen them live yet. But this is a song by them called Further Man, and this is Free Recovery.
Sweet.